All right. Hey, Marcos. So, to start with this question, you would have to look at the cost curve. So, you would have C equals Q squared plus 200, right? Which is given in a question for the competitive industry. So, to find your optimum quantity as a firm to produce, you'd have to find marginal cost and average cost. To find marginal cost, you would have MC equals 2Q because it's just a derivative of the cost function. So you just drop the exponent and discard the constant term. And you would have average cost, which is you divide the cost function by Q. And to find the optimum quantity, you would set MC equals AC. And then you would have 2Q equals Q squared plus 200 over Q. And solve for Q, you would have Q equals square root of 200, which is 10 root 2, which is an ugly number. But if you get a rational number, keep it as a rational because that's the most accurate form. And then to find the price, you would have P equals MC. So MC being 2Q, you would have P0 being 20 root 2. And then now you have this, you can just plug this into your demand. So your demand is 240 minus 3P. And then you can find your quantity for the industry by just plugging in the price here. So you would have 240 minus 320 root 2. It's also a very irrational number, but keep it in this form. So it's just 240 minus 60 root 2. And to find the number of firms, you'd have to divide the quantity produced in the industry and the quantity produced as a firm. So you would divide 240 root 2 divided by 10 root 2, which would equal around 11 if you calculate. And then now you can use this to find the industry supply curve. So all you do is industry supply curve is N times Q. And N being the number of firms, you'd have 11 times Q, but then using P equals MC here, you know that Q is also 1/2 P. So just plug in 1/2 P into Q. You would have S not equal 5.5 P. So that's your initial calculation. For these kind of questions, you'd have to find 3 kinds of equilibriums. You'd have to find initial, short run, and long run. Short run being the number of firms, N stays the same. So N0 equals N1. In long run, number of firms change. So there's a new N, which is N2. And the reason being is that whenever there's a new tax or subsidy implemented to a firm, in the short run, there wouldn't be an increased number in the industry or a decreased number of firms in the industry. So meaning there's no exit or entry. In long run, there will be. So now you have to account for that. So for short run, it's quite simple calculation. But now, since there's a per unit $20 tax, there will be an increase in cost, and you multiply 20 by Q because it's per unit. So an additional unit produced, you would charge $20 for it. And still fixed cost will still be 20. Now there's a different marginal cost. And then you calculate P equals MC. And then you would have P minus 20 over 2 equals Q. And then you can use this to find this new supply curve. Supply curve is n times q, remember? And then n is still 11 because it stays the same because it's short run, right? So it's 11 times quantity is this after tax. Just plug it in, and now you have, this is your new supply curve. And then you can find your new P and your new Q, P1, Q1 of your industry by setting supply equals demand. And you would have P1, which would be around 41.18. You'd have to calculate this yourself. And then your Q1 you can find by just plugging P1 into here. Then you would get 10.59. So that's that. Now you solve for short run. Long run, I would encourage this to do it yourself. The only difference is once you go, it will be the same process up until this point, but you now know that the quantity here, 2q plus 20, because P equals MC, right? And then MC is 2q plus 20. But you now know that since in the long run, MES still stays the same, so your quantity produced as a firm will still be 10 root 2. So for long run, you can just plug in 10 root 2 into here and then find your new price. And then you can, using that price, plug it into your demand curve to find your industry quantity, your big Q, and then use that to find your number of firms, so big Q over small q, and then you can find your new supply curve. So I'll let you do that by yourself, but your graph should look something like this. So you would have your marginal cost curve, upward sloping. You have your MC0, which is here, 2Q. MC0 is 2Q. And then now you have your new MC, 2Q plus 20, right? And then you have your average cost curve going like this, AC0, and then your average cost curve going like this. And then in the long run, this would be AC1. This quantity should stay the same. When I say MES, is this point. When MES stays the same, your quantity stays the same as well. And then now, this short run equilibrium point would be somewhere around here. And then you would have a supply curve. Initially, it was 5.5p, right? When you calculate it here, S0. And then you would have a given demand curve, which is 2040 minus 3p, 240 minus 3p. And then you would have a new supply curve going this way for a short run. So you would have S1 equals, you should end up getting 5.5p minus 110. And then you should have a new long run supply curve after recalculating the number of firms. You should have S0, oh no, S2, sorry, equals 3.5p minus 70. But yeah, reconfirm your answers after doing this on your own. And revenue is just total. So profit, oh, never mind. Revenue is just, total revenue is just price times quantity. After the tax, so you'd have to calculate it using these numbers here. So that it will be this times this. But yes, so let me know if you get stuck so we can walk through it again. But keep up the hard work and good luck on your exam.